multiple CMA awards, the Country Music Awards.
Of Ontario.
Okay, of Ontario.
And don't forget the O. CMAO.
Ontario.
Nominations, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Congrats.
that's been great.
When
yeah.
your first one came on the first album, right?
Yeah, so
You hit it out of the park on your first one. We're gonna talk about that.
That's a good start. That's the best way to get
right,
off.
and we might as well start well, otherwise why bother?
For sure. I like that. I once heard a saying that was like, anything worth doing well is worth doing poorly at first.
Oh, okay.
So if you nail it at first, then you're here.
Yeah.
Then
just keep going. Exactly,
we just
right?
skipped over the
That's
fourth
cool.
one.
That's cool. And then you've had I'm forgetting his name, Brian, who's the producer. Thank you, Brian House. He's worked with Mother, and he's also worked with
Oh my god, so many big bands.
yeah, it's been really cool.
One of my
Daughtry
favorites.
was
Daughtry was another one.
He worked with Linkin Park, which I thought was like the
Sweet,
coolest thing ever,
that's
since they've been like
yes.
my favorite band
And
forever.
do you know what songs?
No, I should have asked him.
Okay, no
Hey,
worries.
any Linkin Park is still
Right?
Linkin Park. It
Exactly.
it's still awesome.
But that's
Exactly.
that's really cool. So Nicole Rayy has been writing songs since she was really young. I'm gonna guess 6.
I'm going with 8.
I feel like, well, technically, my mom says I used to try to sing when I was a baby. So maybe I've been writing songs since before then.
I said 8 months old, right?
Oh,
I
yes.
didn't mean 8 years old.
you
Then you got it, you got it.
You win, man. You win big time. Price is Right rules.
Price is Right rules.
I guess 6 now. 5 years too high, man. So you had like a really, I don't want to say like really big following since the start, but something happened right away on your first like album drop that gained a lot of attention. Do you have any idea what it is in your music that connects?
Well, for me, what I've always tried to do with my music and with my writing is to be as honest as possible. Because I feel like growing up listening to music, that was something that was really the connect for me, was that you'd listen to a song and you'd think, oh wow, that's exactly what I'm feeling, or that's exactly what I'm going through. And I try to do the same thing with my music because I want other people and my listeners to have that same feeling that I've had.
Like the relatability.
Exactly, right? Because I mean, that's, I think, why we turn to music a lot, is to have that feeling that somebody else understands us and somebody else understands what we're going through, or we're having a happy moment, we just want to dance around
Just
or
want to have
whatever.
some happy music. Yeah.
Exactly.
Put some MGMT on or something.
Exactly.
Good vibes, good music. No, I've actually ended up feeling that way. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why, but it was that whole connection of it was an emotional time where I was, but this album ended up just, it fit the mood and it just made me feel better, and it was just like, I don't know, it's the
Right, it's exactly that feeling. Yeah, you were going through something and somebody wrote something that was like the guiding light for what was happening with you at the time.
Yeah, shout out Angels and Airwaves.
Have you ever gotten to a point where you're like, damn, that line might be too honest?
No.
Really?
That's good though.
So.
That's good.
I mean, I really try to be as honest as possible. If anything, the opposite happens sometimes. Like I'll write something that kind of sugarcoats it, and then I'm like, doesn't sound as good. Like it really needs to be real.
So you're like, I need to make this heavy hitting.
Right.
Like cut a little deeper.
A little, yeah, exactly.
Cool. So one thing that we've got as a recurring theme a lot when I've asked many of our guests, what do you think it is that resonates? They said something really similar. They're like, vulnerability, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so are you just super cool with everyone knowing everything, or how do you allow yourself to be vulnerable but still like champion that?
So I think for me, I mean, a lot of my songs have been about different relationships in my life, and to me, I've never really had a closed door on that. I've just been as vulnerable and as open as possible to put that in my songs and let people know exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But I'm slowly trying to write more songs just about like me as a person and things I believe in and things I want to see in the world, and that's a little bit harder. It's been harder to just sort of like put myself out there as just me personally trying to say what I think should be going on in society or things like that, because that seems a little bit more scary, vulnerable to me.
It's a lot more sensitive topics to put out there, right?
Yeah.
It's not just like this dumb ex-boyfriend or whatever.
Right.
I can just I don't care about this person anymore. Let's write a song about it. This is me. I always care about me. Always self-developing. Always caring about your next step. And it's like, It's like walking through a door to a crowd of unknown and just being like, this is me.
Totally.
It's like, are you ready to accept it?
Exactly, and that can be difficult because it's.
Definitely.
I think as artists, the artists that do well are ones that are truly themselves, because you can tell when something's been manufactured as an artist, and so it's important to be yourself, but it's also really hard too because you're out there just, this is me in front of a crowd and everyone can hate you.
It's you're either gonna accept me or hate me.
Right?
I've never met somebody that's just been okay with me. They either like me or don't. I mean, I feel like I'm in a room with people that are very middle of the room, but other than that, I feel.
That's funny, man. That's funny. There's nothing but love for you, Copper, man. We all love, man. That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you just said that. That's good. So you performed like the stage. So you've done the Calgary Stampede. I read you performed in like China, like Shanghai.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not just once. Either.
No, 4
That was
years
4
in a
years
row.
in a row.
Yeah, like 2015 to 2018, right?
Yes.
So how does that happen for an artist? What did you do to get there?
So my parents were actually living in Shanghai for a while. The company that my dad works for, had him living out there to oversee a project they were doing in Shanghai. And I went to visit them, and the festival was going on, and I thought, oh, this is cool. Like, maybe I should come back and try to be in this festival. So I found out through somebody that my dad worked with, a person to connect with to send my music, just to be like, hey, I'd like to come play this festival. Any chance? Here's my music. Check it out.
Here's my demo. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it would be like, no, we don't care, like whatever. But then they had us, and it was incredible. And then apparently they liked us because they kept having us back.
You keep coming back. Clearly, as well. And say that was one thing when we were reading info about you. That's one thing that you mentioned, is that the music connected with the fans there.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that when we had Nikki P on a couple weeks ago, she said that the crowds in the international markets are so much different in a sense. They connect with.
They're so much more attentive. That's the thing. Like, we would play a song and everybody would clap, but then it would go back to absolute silence. Everyone's paying attention to like what you're gonna say next or what you're gonna sing next. It's not like it's not like singing in a bar where people just like don't care and they're talking over you. This is like pure focus.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So it said essentially for you, and one thing that I like about what I've been able to read into your story is your showmanship on stage is engaging. Like, you're telling a story. Like, they're not just watching you, they're like experiencing the show. Do you do that intentionally?
A little bit. I mean, I think for me the stage has always felt like home, so I feel very comfortable there, and I feel very comfortable expressing myself like physically while singing the song. That it kind of comes naturally. But at the same time, that is a thought process, because I always find that if a song looks the same, then it starts to sound the same. Like, if you just see somebody on stage and they're just standing there not doing anything for every song, then it every song kind of starts to sound the same, and you're lost, right?
Yeah.
So I feel it's important to be dynamic, because you're right. It's a whole show. It's a whole experience, not just here's me singing my song.
Is that why that Old Town Road song's been number one like that? Because of the show? I will admit that little Nas X guy,
right?
He puts on a hell of a show when he does the music performance.
Yeah, but that's part of it. It gets people in, right? People are part of the experience. They're so excited to be there and see that and have that dynamic performance going on. So that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's really cool. That is
what have you done to elevate it just beyond singing? Like, for you and your performances, one of the bands we had here, Words Like Wildfire, they did a thing where they talked about synchronizing this gigantic light thing they could transport it and quickly connect it on stage, and it was synced to their music.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and
it's really cool.
sweet.
I've seen the videos on their Instagram as well. They've had some practice videos, even live videos on their Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, guys. I apologize, but it's badass. With the lights going when they're
that's
it's
so cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, they put themselves through university on YouTube. I think they said YouTube
Yeah.
University.
Yeah,
and they just said
YouTube
they watched for
University.
hours how to make it, and
Wow.
they programmed it themselves.
Well, Google's
That's pretty cool.
It was sweet. It was
Well,
sweet.
clearly I gotta step
Not
up
to
my
like,
show.
not to put you on some pressure, but what have you done, Nicole?
Where's your free college, yo?
I have no crazy legs. No. Well, actually, something as an artist that's somewhat difficult is that, like, until you get to a phase where you have the money to sort of support a band to be behind you at all times, I don't necessarily always have the same people playing in my band.
Kind of an interchangeable member.
Right. Like, I mean, there's
role.
like the core people that I always go to, but like those guys have to make money too. So they're
Yeah,
not
those
just
artists.
attached to me. They play with other artists as well. But I would love to get to the point where I can pay a band to be on retainer all the time so that my show can be synchronized or have something cool like that because everyone in the band would know about it.
Yeah, every show is the same show
Right.
with the same people and the same, different kind of ideas that you guys can work together to
Exactly.
make happen.
Exactly.
I do feel that would definitely end up benefiting, as you said, because the interchangeable members.
It's
how
hard.
How can we?
Yeah, like everyone
Teach
knows
you
the
and-
show, but at the same time, it's hard to do anything sort of over the top until you have a solid group of people that are there every rehearsal, every time.
Hey, well, we're just at the first album though.
Second,
no,
actually.
Second, my mistake.
actually.
Second.
It's called Dig. By the way, when did Dig actually come out?
2016,
Okay, so like-
October
So it was a
14th.
couple years ago.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So it's been a while.
So I missed one. I missed
No
one.
worries.
all right.
No worries.
Second, and we're like
And we're
it's just at
working
the
out
start. We're,
towards the third.
And you
The
just,
third
I
is
guess,
gonna say we're third.
the first single that just came out, that's going to be on the next one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it
It's
is.
called Unfinished.
Yes.
Just dropped Friday.
Yes.
There's a release party for it.
Oh.
Woohoo!
Okay, it's
Come
gonna be
party.
sweet. It's gonna be in Oakville. I want to talk to you about Oakville in a sec. You said it was
Yes.
kind of like where you started, which is cool.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be so, guys. It's Wednesday, August 28th, 7 p.m. doors, 7:30 start. The single release party for Unfinished by Nicole Rayy. It's gonna be super dope. We're gonna go to a break. The break is gonna be rad, and then you're gonna come back for some more conversation with us. Nicole Rayy is gonna be sweet. We got Bad Habit by Nicole Rayy showing up. We got Comfortable by Valley showing up. Are we good? We
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
I was just trying
Sweet.
to do. We're talking about this whole Unfinished. I'm thinking like we're gonna play it.
Oh,
We're
no,
gonna
it's
wait.
coming
We're gonna
later.
wait.
It's coming
We're gonna
later.
wait. We're gonna wait.
We got Italian
Keep 'em on
fingers
the
telling us to
hook.
pull the plug. Okay, guys,
Keep
catch us
waiting.
out on DriveWire at CFRE. Check us out in a bit. Back to DriveWire, you got Carter, you got Crawford, you got Nicole Rayy. This is the show. There are so many artists who want to win, who want to earn, who want to make it a career, but they're just like, they don't know how. And it's not a matter of skill. Like, I know so many people who have ridiculous talent,
Skills that-
like really cool talent, amazing artists, but where are they gonna win? And I think that this like social media thing that's still pretty new, it's like within 20 years, this is going to be where it happens, and there are already artists doing it, and the creative people have an advantage, and here we're designing our show to find the advantage by bringing cool-ass people like Nicole Rayy.
Thank you.
So you started young. I want to talk about the start, because I know we said at the very beginning your first album was like, got really good reception, but I'm willing to bet that there's like a pile of unheard songs and albums that happened before that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of crappy songs no one should probably ever
Well,
hear.
If
as
anything's
people
worth
said, for
doing
every 10 you release, there should be 100 you don't release. Kind of, every
Pretty
100 you have
much.
10.
You gotta get out the garbage somewhere,
Get-
right?
So you started kind of really leaning into music, you said, in roughly 2011.
Yeah.
What did that look like for you then?
So I had dropped out of university because I decided that I just wanted to
How
do
did
the
mom and
music.
dad like that?
You know, they weren't thrilled at first,
It's
but
a mixed
honestly,
reception.
they're like literally the most supportive parents.
cool.
Like
Thanks.
they,
Thanks, Dad.
they're amazing.
Listen, if I'm
And-
gonna follow you to Shanghai, you're gonna be chill with my music career.
Right? But it was actually my dad that really helped me in the beginning. So we made this like cheesy freaking music video. Like he helped me make it, and it was like just a song
Is it
that I
on
wrote.
YouTube?
Yeah.
No,
I
it
mean,
is
Can I
nowhere.
see it?
Can
Can
we
I
link
see
it? I mean, could you give it to us to do a DriveWire exclusive release?
You're
No.
Please.
I'll maybe just show you guys later, but
Okay, I'm holding you to that. We have that on recording.
Secret video in my pocket, pocket phone recording
Oh
DriveWire.
man, oh
But
man.
yeah, I recorded it and yeah, it was awful.
They always are.
Yeah.
The beginning ones.
The first one's never greatest.
But my dad, he showed it to somebody at work, and this guy is like best friends with the guy that owns a studio in Toronto, and he's like, oh well, like, you know, I think I could like hook you up or whatever. So then yeah, we went to the studio in Toronto. It's Cherry Beach Sound Studio.
Okay, shout out Cherry Beach Sound.
Yeah, and the owner there, Carmen, he kind of took me under his wing, and I was like, I want to record, I want to be an artist, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I had never done anything, I'd never been in the studio before.
This is what I want how to do it.
Yeah, and he like really helped me out. Like, he got me this vocal coach who then like helped me with writing and stuff too, and helped me in the studio to record. And he got me this awesome producer, and like he really helped me put the project together and help like apparently I can't talk. Put together the first CD.
Hey, listen, you don't have to feel weird about making mistakes, because I literally spell of wrong on air on this show, so no one can blunder harder than
I'm happy they forgot about mine, because I did it and they're like, exactly, we don't need to remember it, and I knew they would, so that's why I brought it up. Exactly.
Listen, we got this, guys. We got this. I want to know, do you have a team?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to talk about this first.
Teams are very important.
Yeah,
success.
They are.
So
you can't do it alone.
And school teaches you to do stuff by yourself. As soon as I ask you for the answer, I'm cheating.
Right.
But in the real world, that's not real, and we all seem to think it's still like we act like it is.
Right.
Why are we disciplined to try to work together?
Love that.
That's very weird. I never thought about that in terms of school.
Well,
That's
it's
totally what they tell you.
Do your workload, right? So if you're my employee, I want you doing your own shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which is fair.
Which is cool. But we're not employees here. We're entrepreneurs.
Right.
So we need to build a team.
So there's no problem with
So
getting help.
Who's on your team?
So I have a manager. Her name's Jordan Elliott. She also manages Eric Etheridge and Megan Patrick. If you guys know those fantastic artists.
Very cool.
Some pretty cool artists. And then I also have a radio tracker who I work with. I worked with a tracker. Her name was Anya Wilson for a really long time. She helped me at the very beginning of my career.
Now, what is a radio tracker? Yeah,
so
what is that?
they send out your music to the radio on your behalf.
Oh, okay.
And then they provide me with like the feedback, like if the radio says, yay, we added it, or like, no, this is the reason why we don't want it. And then they also schedule radio tour visits for me. So like I'm working with a new tracker now. His name's Adrian Locke, and he's from BC. And he's like, so he schedules visits to radio stations for me to go say hi to everyone and do interviews like what we're doing right now.
Come on in, do a little interview, play some songs.
Yeah.
Can you try something for me?
Sure.
Okay, I've been talking to Dom about this for so long, and Dom receives submissions, right? And I always said to him, if I was sending a submission into a radio show, I think I would cover it in like permanent marker with "do not open" or "don't listen." I don't know why, but just I feel like by writing that in big, people
Somebody
will be like,
would
what the
open
hell?
it.
Yeah, I'm for sure. It's like wet paint, right? Don't touch. And everyone you see with the stupid thing on their finger because we all touch
I'm not going to say I wrote into wet cement as a kid in the sidewalks, but when it's all fenced off, you're going to put a stick and be like,
you know what? You know what, man?
I didn't say I did.
I think I've seen your handiwork many times.
I don't know that's there.
This guy.
But that's a clever idea.
Just try it with
honestly,
like two stations. Can you tell me if that works? Because I feel like I would open it no problem.
All right, we'll do a test run.
Just
I'll
be
just
like,
Adrian, just send this out and put "do not listen" and see what happens.
You won't like this, and then they're like, "Well, I feel like it's challenged me at this point. I have to listen to it."
Like someone who's that honest, I at least owe them the shit. Like they might listen to it just for that.
There's a 5 in this envelope. They're like, "There's a 5 in the envelope." Oh, it's just to see 5 tracks. Please listen.
It might work.
No, I love that. So you have a radio tracker. This is cool.
I also have a person who helps with graphics, and I also have somebody who helps with PR, and I also have.
So you're a graphic person. Sorry to cut you off because there are so many things beyond music that help someone get successful.
Yes.
And so you're saying a lot of things that are new on the show, and I want to like stretch them out.
Yes,
so
let's do it.
Graphics. So what is this person doing for you? Why do you need this person? How do they help you?
Okay, so I'm not the best with like Photoshop or any of those crazy things on the computer. So this guy, Like, so for like example, when my new single just came out, like we need a cover. So
Mhm.
that
Cover,
cover, like goes online or wherever else you
Right.
see the song show up. So this
Spotify,
person
boom.
like takes the photos that I've sent them, and I'm like, oh, here's this one I think would be good for the album cover, and then he puts on the words and like my name on it, and
Interesting.
like he'll come back to me with different designs or different fonts or
Different
whatever till
options.
I'm happy with it and say, yeah, looks awesome.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
That's a cool because that takes. I guess there's like your input of this is what I think is awesome. He says,
Right.
all right, let's work with this.
Yeah.
And then we work with it in several different options, and then it's here's your choice.
Yeah.
If you don't like any of them, let's go back to the drawing board and do it again.
Exactly, and it's nice to get somebody else's eye on it too. Like actually, I'm getting some merch designed right now that
Right
my
on.
graphic guy is helping me with, and it's like I'm not an artistic person visually, so to have somebody else.
Yeah, enough bumps all around.
I knocked ya. I gave you the fist bump because I'm completely on board with that.
Right?
I'm artistically creative musically.
Yeah,
but
but not
visually, I don't have the
anything.
gift. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
have the gift.
So
My
it's,
brain can
Yeah.
think of some cool
right,
stuff,
I can
but
tell
like
you what I
you
want.
just
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
like
I
put
can't
down.
put it on
So
paper,
that's
I'm
what a
sorry.
graphic person is great for too, because
Sweet.
it's like they have the eye.
Sweet. No, I like that. I like that a lot. And so you have the
Nicholson,
visual.
if you remember him, he's one of those people. Excellent graphic guy.
Oh.
I have told him about DriveWire. I'm probably not listening right now, but if he's listening in the future, saying, Jake, we could use some graphics.
Draw some graphics.
We love you on the team.
So you got the graphics, the radio tracker, the manager. Anybody else come to mind on your team?
I also have a business manager who's currently my mom.
Okay.
But somebody to do the books, because
person.
I don't like doing that stuff either. So basically, I keep receipts from like everything I do, and then I send it home to mom. To
We all need an
file.
accountant, and
Yeah.
right there, that's, shout out my mom.
Right.
She's also she helps me out with the account stuff.
Moms
so,
are great,
Moms
right?
are fantastic.
Okay, I'm gonna say something that's devastatingly unpopular.
Oh,
for
he doesn't like
Okay.
his mom or something.
No,
we
is it
kid.
about the momager thing?
No, my mom's a G.
She's a straight G.
She's awesome. She's awesome. I was not even going anywhere close to what I was. Both of you were so off. It's okay. It's okay. I'm coming to silence. The idea is like, as a musician, please put together at least a rudimentary plan for the cash flow from your gigs.
Yes.
So this is what I put. I have like your business manager, and I just put accountant a dollar sign. Like she's the account. She's just accountant. She's just figuring out where the money's coming from. And you have people. You have the graphics person who needs a cut, and the radio tracker, and the manager. And there's
Yep.
probably other people on your team that we might
Yep.
not even get to. And you need some for yourself. And if I'm just going out and seeing a freaking cool guitar because I made a gig and there's $400 in the account, and I go and I buy it, I have to pay all these people, bro.
Right, yeah.
So you can use and typically artists are like, man, like I just want to make some dope music, man, and connect with the fans, man. I'm like, bro, but like that only stands on something that's sound financially. It has to be there. It has to be there.
There's so much business involved in being an artist. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you need to be business savvy if you want to make it as a successful artist.
Any skills come to mind that you can think of?
I mean, honestly, I was just talking with my mom, and we were just talking about like everything that I've learned having been in this business for so long, and like you said about managing the finances and money in and money out, and just things that you need to do that like I would have never thought of when I first started out as an artist. It's like
Never
you
thought
just
of it.
wanna sing and make music, but now it's
not
like
that
I'm
hard.
constantly having emails, and I constantly have to work on my social media or do things in the background or analytics or things like that, like things I wouldn't have thought
You never thought
were,
of.
important.
It's not just all writing lyrics and creating
No.
sweet music to it. No,
No,
there's
I mean-
so much more to that. That's
Ex-
the top of the pie.
Exactly.
That's the sweetest part of the pie.
That's the part we all love to go out and do. I mean,
Yeah.
a day when I have a gig and I get to be on stage and
Woo!
do my thing is like
Exciting
the
day.
best day. But it's like there's so many other days a week where I'm just at home on my computer doing all these other things that need to happen. Otherwise, they
But
would
those
get
things
lost in
need
the
to
process.
happen. Yeah, as I say, those things need to happen to get you to that other point. So
Yeah.
it's a nice download. I like it.
You guys know the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving Enough? That bright orange book that was in stores for a long
I've
time?
heard of it. I don't know it.
No
though.
worries, no worries. The artist who wrote it, his name's Mark Manson.
Mm.
He has this idea. It's like, what's your favorite flavor of shit sandwich? and it sounds
Lucky
kind of
Charms.
gross when you
Alright.
first hear it. No, I mean, but the idea is like everything you pick to do is gonna have a little bit of bad in it.
Right.
Like if you're gonna be a lawyer, the frosting on the cake might be your salary, but the poo in the sandwich is going to be the freaking level of workload or your quality, you know, or the paperwork.
You never know. Or, yeah.
You know what I mean? So every single thing, like even
it's true.
You know, so same thing with being a musician.
Definitely.
And a lot of times, if you can find people who prefer that flavor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your flavor isn't graphics, so you found someone else who likes to eat that kind of shit.
You know,
everyone was looking at me and knew it was
how's this one gonna roll out?
You can't love everything, so
right,
sometimes, you need to get somebody else on board and to help you out with those things.
And to be frank, like, probably your graphics guy would be terrified on stage.
Probably.
He's probably not a
I don't
great
think he's a
marketer.
musician.
No.
So,
Right? So that's your preferred flair. It's like just what you wanna do, and I love that. Like you're setting up with people who prefer to do the things that you don't.
Exactly.
I like that. That's cool, man. That's cool. Did going to Shanghai help your career? I really want to know that. Did anything happen? Any ripples?
Did like some album sales explode? You know, from more exposure over there.
So here's the thing. I feel like it helped from like the standpoint of like people over here were like, oh wow, she's going over there to travel. Like she must be really awesome and important. And like they make me feel that way when I go over to perform. But I was talking earlier before we started the show that like I would like to still try to find a way to break more into the market in Shanghai.
Yeah.
I mean, they love it when we're there, but like I would love for like the music to play on the radio over there, or like for us to have a video that goes viral over there, or something that like really helps move my career along in that market.
In that market.
Yeah.
Someone, who was it? Came on. You guys will remember it. Maybe Raz. Someone said like it's really cool to build overseas, and then when you come back, you get this like. Since you have something budding on that side of the world, then it's like because it's taken away over here, like all of a sudden you're scarce and people want it even more.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is about like the Canadian music industry still, but I feel like it still is like it's not as cool, or like it's not as good as like the US. And that like if you make it somewhere else, then all of a sudden Canada's like, yeah, we're on board. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I don't understand why like Canada doesn't just pick up on some people first before they have to go somewhere else to make their career.
When you the World Nickelback, they were pretty pissed about that, and I think everyone's still holding that over there, and that was 16 years ago. You know, like,
we gave them a lot of cool stuff. I think Gordon Lightfoot's Canadian, bro.
True. There's been a lot of good. I just mean, you know, the people tend to get caught up on the bad and never let it go.
Yeah.
But that is the CanCon market. It's a tough one to break out into.
I'm not really sure like where that stems from still, but
I think we all are confused.
Yeah.
The CRTC is they have their mandates.
Yeah.
And we obey them.
I guess so.
We're looking at.
Wait, how much time we got before our next break?
We got something special to premiere with the next.
We got a new song coming.
Yeah.
It's called Unfinished. It's by Nicole Rayy.
I think it's that.
It's finished though.
It's pretty cool.
It is
The
finished.
song's finished.
It's finished.
Hilariously, I sent it to so many people to listen to, and they literally thought I was sending them something that was like not done.
That's the edited title. Like, oh, it's just the unfinished mix. Like, no, this is the song.
No, it's just called Unfinished.
It's like, hey, this is unfinished, and you send it to them, and there's
sounds pretty finished.
Yeah,
to me.
it's pretty good.
What else do you need to add? What was your talk to me about Unfinished? Like, how did you write it? What did you
So I flew out to BC to work with Brian House and JVP, who's the other producer, and he works with. And they also flew in a writer, Nolan, from LA, who's written like a bunch of hit songs. Like he writes for like Lady Antebellum, and he wrote for Andy Grammer, that song Honey I'm Good. I don't know if you guys know that one, but it was like a big hit for a while. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, okay.
So he wrote that. So they flew him in to write with us, and basically our goal was we had 2 days, so I had to write and record 2 songs in 2 days.
2 days, song a day.
So one of the songs we wrote was Unfinished, and it was actually a title of mine that I've had on my like list that's on my phone forever.
This is a song I want to release.
Yeah,
one
like
day
this
called
is like a
Unfinished.
title. I have an idea for it, but like I just hadn't sat down and written it with anyone. And Nolan was looking through my list, and he's like, "Oh, that's a really cool title. Like I think we should write this one." And then we just sat down in an afternoon and wrote the song.
So what was the inspiration? So he's like, okay, song's called Unfinished. What next?
So it's actually based on like real life story of my life. So I dated somebody way back in the day when we were 18, and like it was a really great relationship, and I always felt like this was the person for me. And then we went our separate ways in life, as you know, stuff happens. And now we're back together. We've been back together for about 3 years now, and plan on living out our happy life together.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was
This is
all
the
it was all
unfinished
about
dream.
that. That like I always felt that something between us was unfinished. So
Right.
yeah,
Like
That is
that.
cool.
And it happened to be true.
right?
True story here.
Yeah.
That's the power of music. That's the power of music.
When
Favorite lyric? Favorite lyric?
Yeah, I was gonna go with
At the
lyrics
end
there,
of the
like-
chorus, it says, "If we wrote us off, we could write us right back in it, unfinished." That's my favorite part.
Oh.
If we wrote us off, we
could write us right back in it.
Unfinished. This is going to be Unfinished by Nicole Rayy, a new song, and then You're the One by Greta Van Fleet. Catch us off DriveWire, CFRradio.ca. You got Carter, you got Crawford, you got Nicole Rayy.
Two, one, we're back. We're back, everybody. Hello.
Yo, what is up? Welcome to the most professional show on the radio. You got
She usually been here for 30 minutes and she's already like, I totally agree.
Yeah, it is what
You
it
guys
is.
are pretty
Listen, if we're not the
great.
most professional, we're definitely the most fun.
We're
That's
the
what I was
most
gonna
fun.
say.
Yeah,
I
right?
was like, that was the
Right?
most fun.
Most
Look,
fun.
look, it is what it is. We get that every time. People
We
are like,
are
you know
who we
what?
are.
I was like uptight and afraid to talk to you at the beginning, but by the end, I just felt like I was your best friend, man. I'm like, yeah, that's what
Come
we're-
over for barbecue hot
Yeah.
dogs this weekend.
Yeah, I was like, I feel
So-
like we're hanging out. Like,
Or,
going
yeah.
for a beer.
Yeah,
Let's go
yeah.
for a beer after
I'm
that.
down. I'm down. I'm down. I like that. I like that. So, what's the future for Nicole Rayy? Like, what are you working on now? What's coming up?
Well, the immediate future is an EP release.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good timing on that.
Yeah,
nailed that.
knuckleball,
That was
knuckleballs. Sorry, the mic was in the way of the hand.
Oh,
You
man.
can't even blink a little bit.
I'm glad
But
you're
an
listening.
EP.
It's good to
Yes,
see
On
an
the
EP
way.
release. I'm really excited about that. No official release date yet, but I'm thinking in the fall sometime.
Okay, on
So-
before the end of the year.
Yes, definitely before the end of the year.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, and it's got 3 songs that I produced with Brian House. He was the producer on those, and then the other 3 I worked with Doug Romano, who produced my album Dig.
Oh,
So
right on.
yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's a special project. Kind of has 3 songs from different creative
Different
people,
creative
and came
peoples,
together
yeah.
to make one really cool album.
That's
Different
sweet.
creative
That's
minds
sweet.
coming together. and creating
Exactly.
Are you going to be
things.
touring that when it comes out?
Definitely.
Going to Shanghai?
So I'm not going back to Shanghai this year. I really wish I was, but we're actually going to be doing a big, huge radio tour with Unfinished
Ooh.
in the next couple of months. So I'm going to be busy on the road with that. But they did invite us back for 2020, so I
Cool.
look forward to
Yeah.
hitting up Shanghai.
And you'll have
again.
all like
Right on.
6 or 7 songs available then to do at the same
Yes.
time, right? So you don't. It's
Exactly.
maybe for the better.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because like the past few years I've been and like they've kind of heard all the songs that like I already have out, so this will be better. They'll
Like,
wait
this is
and
that-
they'll get
this
the
is
brand
that
new
good
album.
one.
Yeah, it's totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Exactly.
And also like no doubt while you're making this new music you'll get better too, which is awesome because you're so young and you're already at this level of competency where people are really starting to pay attention. So as you build the next album or 2, like it's really gonna get there, and then you come back and you're like, wow, I remember all these ones from when she was this,
Yeah.
and now she's this. Like, holy
Huge,
crap!
yeah.
Like,
There's this big leap, yeah. I think
yeah.
as an artist, I mean, it's important to always be like building and working on your craft and
Definitely.
practicing and like I see a huge difference in myself from like the first album to
That's-
now. Like
that's
it's almost
awesome.
laughable, like listening to like the first songs because I'm like, wow, I sound like a baby.
This was not good, but
Yeah.
this got me to where you are now,
Right,
so it's like,
exactly.
it
It's
all
all
comes in time.
part of the process.
Yeah, I don't think Will Ferrell watched his first movie and you're like, I was an excellent actor back then.
Probably not.
Debatable.
Maybe, but
I love Will Ferrell.
He's such
So
a good.
good.
I mean, that movie they did, Sherlock Holmes. Oh,
You didn't like it?
it
I haven't
was
seen it.
bad.
I'm not a fan of Alf. That's the one that got me.
What?
I mean,
Oh, come
I
on.
can't.
Oh.
Alright, everybody, listen to DriveWire
Wow.
Radio. This is the
Wow.
official last show.
Oh,
We're done now.
wow.
How do you
Wow.
not like Elf?
Listen. There are so many amazing Will Ferrell movies.
But
I'm not
he's
hitting
so
on him.
good.
He's
I
so
just-
good in that movie.
It just, I don't know, man.
What's your favorite
Kicking
color?
and screaming on the
These-
soccer
I'm
dad
off
movie.
this- I'm off of Will Ferrell.
Okay, well, he's
Okay,
over
okay.
it. He's
What
over
did,
it.
hey, what did you learn from Brian? So you said he's working with Linkin Park. I know that he's worked with Daughtry. I know that he's worked with Mother.
Yeah.
Did anything happen that you were like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of doing that myself?
I think just like in a general sense, he really pushed me outside of my comfort zone to do things that like maybe I wasn't sure I could do. So when we wrote Unfinished, we actually wrote it in a different key, and then they kept
Oh.
like putting it up and up and up, and I was like in the vocal booth. He's like, no, I think you can sing it higher, and like they just kept going with it, and I was like to me, I mean, like, not that I don't believe I can sing high, but sometimes I feel like when a song gets too high, then it's just like squeaky and it's annoying, or
It's
like
hard to
it
listen
doesn't.
to, maybe. or
Yeah.
something.
So I was like, are you sure? Like, maybe we should take it down a few. And he's like, trust me, this is the zone. This is where you need to be. And then we did it. And then now hearing it, I'm like, oh, he was totally right.
He was.
I love that.
Yeah.
We learned about that at Metalworks. So they said, first of all, you don't tell the singer you're doing this to them, right? That's what they said. You don't
Yeah,
tell the
just
singer.
take it up and don't
But
say.
you keep bringing it up by like to get them so that the highest note in the line
Yeah.
is their highest note that they can clearly articulate.
Yeah.
And when you get there, like you said like 10 seconds ago, you're like, but it sounds annoying.
Right.
But that's because you're inside the head.
Right.
You weren't
Yeah.
doing
But to the
Yeah.
microphone, it's that sweet spot, and he nailed it, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
Totally.
But right, the number one warning that they gave was like, you need to get this done as fast as possible, and then the vocalist gets like the rest of the day off. So did they
Yeah.
at least do it at the end for you, or?
Well, so we finished writing the song like in the afternoon, and then we started recording it a little bit, and then we decided to take a break and go for dinner. So then we went for dinner, and then we came back, and then he was like, just go in there and just like nail it. So then, yeah, I went back in, and then I feel like it was so much better after that, because it was just like, you know, I had a little break to eat, and then I just went back in there, and it was like, don't even think about it, just sing it, and
So
be
get
done
your,
for the
get your
day.
thoughts together and
Yeah.
just go out there and do it.
Exactly.
Grand slam it.
Yeah, man,
first
you
try.
can't. I mean, I don't want to say can't, but a lot of times thinking about it ruins the music.
It
When I'm
does.
thinking, I'm not playing my best music. Truly, like I'm not.
You just let
Gotta
it
feel
do.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just let it go and just vibe it.
Totally, I think.
Vibe the music.
Feeling it is overthinking it is definitely the way to go for like true art.
Feel overthink.
Yeah.
I like it. Feel
Feel
overthink.
overthink.
Listen, do you have like anything that you've used as far as musical pieces of technology, like anything that's helped you to get your music out there that's genuinely helped you?
Well, I just bought a wireless mic
Oh,
a
yeah?
little while ago, and I love it because I move around a lot on stage, and then it's really
Stage
annoying when I
performance.
get tangled up in all the chords or
It's
tripping.
sweet online viral videos of the
So-
singer falling, but it's not a good show.
But yeah, that's a little embarrassing. So I thought I would get myself a wireless mic. So it's a Shure
Oh, yeah.
SM58.
I was gonna ask you what kind it was. I was just
Very
gonna
good
ask you.
brand.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, the Shure is really great quality, and like even when I've brought the mic to gigs too, like sound guys are always like, "Thank you for buying this microphone and not buying like a shitty quality one."
I'm very thankful you didn't buy the Walmart mic. We
Yeah.
had Walmart mics, they were not very good.
Yeah, those were no good. So
Yeah, and it's especially I've had a couple. So I have an SM57 and a 58. Mine are wired, like so it offsets
Yeah.
the XLR, but they're cool. Like I'm convinced you could build a house and use them as the hammer, and you would be okay at the end to record an album. Like,
I think you're right on
Like,
that.
they're
Like they're
tough
pretty,
builds.
yeah, pretty
They're
durable.
great.
Like,
Great. I've dropped one fairly recently at a gig that I was doing, and it thank goodness the sound was off, but I dropped it, and everyone around me looked at me like, Carter, you're a total idiot, and then picked it up and it worked like a charm.
Like nothing
You
even
didn't have
happened.
to take responsibility for the gravity.
it's built to last.
It is.
That's a good way to say
Right?
it.
Yeah, it's fine.
I like that. Sure, SM58. We'll have to check it out. Thanks so much.
Yes.
For
Yeah, we pop a link in the description below.
Maybe.
Get yourself an awesome mic here.
Yeah, check it out. Seriously. And by the way, the proceeds of something like that will go to the artist. So again, at DriveWire, we're designing our show to help you guys, the listeners, the artists, the people who are trying to go from I have skills to I have a career. Like, if you want a Shure SM58 microphone, if we can find a link to it, if we possibly can, like, perhaps you could support the show and you could support other artists by buying from them specifically, and that's going to be something we get into a little later down the
Buy
line.
through us, help support us, and buy the mic, help support Nicole.
Right?
Simple.
That's pretty
Two
cool.
birds, one stone, right there.
Exactly.
Buy through us. Love it. Okay, what are some skills that have helped you that are not musical?
Well, outside of music, the only other thing that I've really studied or practiced is fitness and nutrition.
Cool.
Like working out and being active and stuff has always been like important to me. And
Which is
like,
very important to life.
yeah, I mean, and it helps too with performing like on stage. I mean, like you can't be like
cardio
out of shape,
and-
like running around on stage. It would just
You
make it a
throw
lot
me,
harder.
throw me a cheeseburger, I
Yeah,
just
like,
two more songs.
Just be like sweating your ass off, but
How are you staying in shape on the road?
oh my god, so that is a lot harder, I will say.
It's intense.
Especially food. That is like I mean I'll kind of do whatever I have to do to get a workout in, like at the hotel gym, or I'll just go for a run or a walk or whatever. But the food is a little bit harder. When I first started going on the road, I treated it too much like, oh, this is a vacation. I'm just on the
Vacation
road. I
food.
should eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
Then I realized very quickly
That's
that
not
was
the
a
way.
terrible idea.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, I try to like think about it a little bit more and just like I'm going on a radio tour soon, and my mom was just saying that, like, oh, like, what are you gonna eat? Well, you go on the road, and I'm like, now I've learned to stop at the grocery store and get stuff, or like make things, or find somewhere that's
Right.
not McDonald's. I mean, sometimes it's late at night, and that's the only thing open, and
Sure.
it's either that or
That's
you
so
starve.
easy.
But I'm trying to make a little bit more of a conscious effort now to go out of my way for salad.
Yeah, and you feel so much better.
You
and
do.
You're in a better mood, and maybe like 4 of your interviews go better, and now people
Boom.
like you more
Yeah,
because you
more
got
of an energy and profile.
Bieber when you went in there.
Yeah.
And you were chill, and you wanted to talk to them. And like, man, if you're eating like McDonald's and
Yeah,
chocolate or
and then you
something,
just you feel like garbage and
got
like
you.
Yeah.
and like it's already you're like susceptible to germs on the road because you're
Yeah.
meeting so many people and you're in and out of so many places that like that's happened to me a few times too, that I've like gotten sick and run down. So now I'm like I gotta stay on top of it, gotta eat healthy, gotta like sanitize.
I say
and
sanitize
stay-
everything,
yeah.
Lysol wipes everywhere.
I do. Oh my god! Now when I get on the plane, every time I travel, I
That's a-
literally bring my
that's a
own
good
wipes
call.
and like sanitize everything.
I feel good. We didn't get sanitized.
So I
We didn't
went.
sanitize.
Yeah,
you
that's
guys
true.
are fine.
That's true. She didn't Lysol her hands after.
Nope.
I was on a plane not too long ago, and I was beside this guy who took out like a Lysol wipe, and he cleaned the seat right beside mine, and I didn't have Lysol wipes, and his wipe looked disgusting after, and then for the rest of the whole ride, I was just like,
Thinking about how.
because I was thinking, listen, he wiped his whole thing, and it was nasty.
Yeah.
So where's what's mine, man?
Right? Like planes are pretty gross.
And when we think about it, it's because they don't leave a lot of clean time. They arrive at the gate, they depart,
Right.
they do a garbage sweep, and they load
And
up 20
then
minutes
next
later.
people are on.
Yeah,
so yeah,
so-
bring your own wipes. That's
Yeah.
my tip for traveling.
That's a good call. That's a good call. That's a good
Nicole
call.
Rayy said it first, bring your own wipes, DriveWire Radio.
Hey, DriveWire Radio sponsored sanitary wipes.
Yeah, we're gonna have
Especially
our
for
merch.
planes.
Each-
Perfect.
Each leaf is gonna say DriveWire or some initial there. We'll have Nicole Rayy official brand on there.
Amazing.
When you open it, it'll play your single unfinished.
Oh,
Wow.
there we go.
Yeah.
That would
There we
be
go.
awesome.
That's a little more
So-
expensive version.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a little
we're
more
up to that
expensive
one.
version.
No worries, no worries. You have to buy a Shure SM58 to get that package. I like that, man. I like that.
That would be hilarious. Like just open it
Buy
up,
one, get a
starts
discount on
playing.
second.
Yeah. Perfect.
Is there any real details that you are able to share with this upcoming tour? Like, it's gonna be you performing. You said there's also gonna be another band on the tour with you as well.
Yeah, I mean things are kind of still in the works
in the
right
works
now. So
building.
yeah, I don't want to say anything and then put my foot in my mouth and
Yeah,
take
true,
it back
true.
later.
Foot and mouth disease.
But-
It's the worst kind out there.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely would like to tour and travel with this new album, and I have some things in the works. So yeah,
Plans.
we'll get back to you on that one.
Oh, right on. Check Facebook, DriveWire.
Exactly.
So one big thing that I see a lot in a lot of the groups that I'm on, that you actually have experience in, is bands who are going around trying to figure out how to start opening for bigger and bigger bands. And you've actually opened for like a lot of really cool people coming
Some
through.
huge names.
So one of the questions that we had for you is, one, what did you learn by opening for them? But perhaps more importantly, how did you actually start opening for them?
So I've had a couple different experiences. One person that I've opened for was Brett Kissel.
That was the
And,
one that I was mentioning in the car.
And he actually had like open contest for people who like wanted to open for him.
That's very cool.
So yeah, you can submit a video and like say why you wanted to open for him or whatever. And so yeah, I did that. I made a video and sent it in, and then we got chosen to do that, which was really cool. So, but yeah, performing, like opening for Brett was great. He's a really great performer and entertainer, and like he cares a lot about like his fans, and like he really appreciates his fans and takes time to talk to people. And I think that was like something like important that I learned from him, is just like sort of like not just engaging with people through his songs on stage, but like he would tell a lot of stories, and he would like learn something about the place where he was performing, and then like share that bit with the audience. And I'm like, that's really important. Like that's smart. Yeah. Like these people are from here. Obviously, they want to hear something about the town where we are right now. So that was something I learned. I was like, oh, that's really smart.
Yeah, I love what you said. Taking the time to engage, learning something about them. Like, I speak French really poorly, but if I speak to someone who speaks French, I will make the effort, as like I will totally annihilate myself in the process. But they respect the hell out of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a German person says thank you. You know what I mean? You're like, you're not gonna judge them for having an accent.
It's thank you. It's thank you.
Come on.
Thank you. Jesus.
Right, yeah, they tried their best.
German, you know, no, exactly. They're trying. That's the effort that was put forward. Thank you.
Copper, you're too much fun. No, I like that a lot. And so we had recently, DriveWire hosted last Wednesday actually, Frank Cosentino. Did I get that right? It's not, yeah, so I got it, I nailed it. This guy was recently inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame in the United States, and he like shreds some serious blues.
Yeah.
And I came up to him before the gig, so he didn't know I was hosting, he didn't know I was somebody who was on the team, he didn't know anything.
Right.
And he shook my hand in the most warm way, and he like looked at me, he's like, hey man, what's your name? I was like,
That's so nice.
My name's Carter. He's like, Carter man, how can I help you, dude? Thank you for being here, I really want to talk to you. And at the time, to be frank with you, I didn't even know he was inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame. But after I realized, holy crap, man! Like, forget the shreds.
Yeah.
Although the shreds were there, definitely.
Of course.
Dude, they were incredible. Crawford, I'm guilting you on it.
That's fine. No, don't.
Crawford went to a comedy special instead of hosting the gig with us.
I had the Thompson Grill tickets purchased before I found out. It's up for debate there. It's up for debate there. But we go back.
He calls me during the show, and I'm just sitting there. I can barely hear his voice, and all it is just the sweetest shreds in the background. Frank just like hammering up.
Sounds so good.
But that was the game, right? Like, obviously, somebody like that, somebody who's shaking hands, somebody who's networking, going that far to connect, and the same thing with Brett Kissel, taking the time to engage, man, I love that you said that.
It's super important, and it's like, obviously, people feel appreciated coming to your show if you're taking time to think about them and talk about them.
One of the biggest things that Steve-O does for his comedy show is he meets with every single person that bought a ticket that wants to meet with him after his shows. It could take 3 hours after shows, but he meets with every single person that wants to meet with him.
That's awesome.
It's just a simple, like, thank you for supporting me.
Right,
and the connection that has bonded between the fans and not just even, that individual. There's so many others like that. It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
I love that, and people feel connected to you. Same thing. Like, I wanted to kind of segue this into your social media campaign. A lot of times, it's this small stuff on the social media.
Yeah.
It's not like, yo, check out this, check out that, check out this. It's somebody replies to you and you heart it and you're like, yo, thanks so much, man, I really appreciate it. Or maybe you generate some sort of genuine, thoughtful comment and they're thinking back, oh, that's really cool, and they respond to you.
Totally.
This is like the stuff that builds the relationship. You know, Frank really like looked into my soul and said like, "Hi, Carter. My name's Frank."
Carter Niffin?
Yeah,
Yes,
like,
Carter.
It was
whoa.
cool. I just felt like a slightly bit cooler after shaking
Right?
his hand.
Yeah, because I think that's what you like as a fan. That's what you want. That like it's made a difference to the artist that you care about their music, right?
Yeah.
And that you like want to talk to them and say hello.
Quick question: Do you possibly manage your own YouTube channel?
Yes.
Do you engage with comments on the YouTube channel?
Not so much on YouTube, but only because I haven't put out a video in a little while.
Get on it, sister.
I am. We just
mean,
finished
it's-
filming a music video,
yeah,
and it's
it's-
coming out on the 28th.
Everyone's
so-
always just finished
So
filming
stay
something.
tuned.
Everyone's always just finished filming something.
But I do a lot more on like Instagram and Facebook. Like
So
Instagram
those hearts
especially.
of the comments and replying on Instagram, those
That's
are,
all me. And
yeah.
yeah, I try to take the time to like reply to every single person. if
You're a
I
busy
can.
person though. You can't do everyone.
I try. I mean, like, I feel like if I was like Taylor Swift and there was a million comments, maybe not.
I'm
But
just giving
as
up
of right
that-
now,
yeah, it's-
I can reach out and talk to everyone, and it's nice.
Right on. That's
Yeah.
cool. That means so much to the listener too. Like being able to,
does.
like, yeah,
It
like,
does.
you're awesome. That you reply like, thank
Yeah.
you. You're cool too for liking me. Like,
Yeah, well, it means a lot to me too that someone like took time out of their day to say something about me and my music. I mean, I feel awesome. That's
That's
really nice of them. Also,
And the respect, like there's this hidden entitlement where a musician feels like, yeah, I deserve these fans. But it's like, no, man, you gotta earn those. You have to earn them every day to earn them. And I like that, man. So you're
Yeah.
putting the effort, which is really cool.
yeah.
Really cool, really cool, really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. I just gotta find my song list here. I got a song that's
He just plays them.
around.
I mean, I can
He
tell
threw
you. I
it
can
with the
tell
last
you.
announcement
I
because he did it so
I-
awesome.
Ah!
I'm a diva. I'm a diva. I'm a big
We're
diva.
all a diva. at
Yeah, we
heart.
are. That's okay. Listen, sounds like a fairly. We got 2 diva songs going. We got "Fireproof" by Nicole Rayy and "Bad Woman" by Melrose. What a hell of a segment!
Woo,
This
yeah.
is gonna be
It's
sweet.
It's a nice little
It's a
swag.
good musical break.
DriveWire on CFRE Radio. Check us out soon. Tree.
Just aggressively slamming the water bottle.
What is going on, DriveWire Nation? Do we have a nation? We have a community at the very least. We have a community.
If we had plaid t-shirts that said DriveWire, there's at least 10 people wearing them out there.
We have a culture. We definitely have a culture.
We got a culture.
I don't know if we got a
Pretty cool
nation
culture.
yet. It is a cool culture.
It
It's
is.
growing.
It's
It's
great.
growing. People like, yeah, I appreciate that. We're starting to generate optimism that living as an artist is real.
Yeah.
And my vision long term is to have artists understanding that not only is it real, I think it's closest to like the most viable thing in the next 15 or 20 years. Because the biggest like leverage means you can do more with what you have. If I'm putting things on YouTube and there's many plays, well, that's leverage.
Right.
And if I'm not a creative person, which means I'm not an artist, then I'm not going to know what to create to put on to get the leverage of the social.
Right.
So online, I think that's creative person's game, and I would like to shape the creative people and wake them up to see that. And if we could do that.
I think you guys got it, and like as an artist, we appreciate that.
Wow,
Yeah,
thank
man,
you.
and that's what it's about. Like
Yeah.
serving the community. We really, and we don't just want to like make it be something where we're interviewing people. Like I want to ask the questions that maybe you haven't told people, like how you generated interest, or how you got to Shanghai, or how you got. But those are things that people would kill for.
Of course, yeah.
But this is the part of the show, as I gotta move on, because Dom's gonna give me the Italian belt here in a second. I don't know. He's
Dun,
taking
dun,
it off. He's
dun.
taking it off. It's coming up. Okay.
Evil eyes.
Big ol',
Evil eyes,
big ol'.
these lies.
This
Oh,
is
yeah,
the
moral
part
life.
of the show where,
Okay.
where Larry comes out and sings a silly song. Just kidding, that's VeggieTales. This is where I tell you what I learned from you.
Okay. Oh, I like this.
Okay,
It's just basically, it's a huge recap. He blows our mind with information that you said.
that you actually said these things, or I put words in your mouth. Just
You just deal with it. You just have to deal with it.
I'll
really.
disagree that I
Okay.
came up with that list,
We-
so it's fine.
You try to be honest. I like that a lot, and props to you because it's harder than it sounds.
It is.
It's a lot harder than it sounds. When you have something that's really honest, and you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to put that out there, and then you do anyways, those ones, like, almost to me, like, the harder it was to put out, the more you need to release it, because those are the ones that get a big commit. So I love that you're doing that. I love it, man.
Thank you.
Wow, that's how I feel too, is what you're aiming for. And those are the songs like the songs for me are like High Hopes by Pink Floyd. When I hear that, I'm like, damn, I just feel like that all the time. Like, how do you nail that so hard? Like, you put into words a thought that I've been having for a long time, and I've never had the words for them. Thank you. And that comes from honesty.
Totally.
Love it. Cool. Let people into the inner world. We really briefly talked about that. It's along the lines of honesty and vulnerability, but also on social.
Yes.
So it's not just updates on my social media. It's not just, yo, this is what I'm doing next. Come check it out. That kind of gets annoying. People stop listening, but if you can let them into the small stuff, they want to check it out. Okay, here's one you didn't say, but you did say it twice actually. So you have
It's
this,
one of those examples.
Okay, I'm prepared for it.
yeah. So I just wrote 3 words and it's send it out. And you said this twice, where the thing for Shanghai and China, you're like, you know what? They had a thing where you could apply, and I just applied. Like I didn't think. You said this also about Brett Kissel. You're like, I didn't think I would win.
Yeah.
But I just wanted, and I just did it.
Yeah.
So put yourself out there. I was talking at a party that came to my house, which was weird. I'll talk about that to you guys often.
Okay.
I literally have people show up at my house saying, we're having a party tonight, and they did.
You're like, okay,
And they
cool.
haven't been
I mean, okay, did you bring liquor for me?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Just bring pizza.
Anyways, there was a guy there who was like talking to me about how he really wanted to succeed at music, and I was like, well, how much music do you have? He's like, so much, man. I was like, well, where is he? He's like, all on my hard drive. I'm like, why aren't we releasing it? Because I don't think any of it's that good yet. And I'm like, dude, you don't get to be, you're selfish right now. You don't choose that.
You don't get to decide if you sound good.
You have to release your
Let us
music.
judge you.
You have to send it out.
Exactly.
And even if, well, seriously, let us
Yeah.
freaking judge you. And even if we judge you harshly, then you know it's
But then you
Yeah,
know,
and-
right?
yeah,
It's harder to ever make any changes or like improvements if you
Cannot.
haven't done anything.
And you
You're
sit in
just
this
keeping-
bubble, and then you don't know if it's different or better.
You're just-
Right.
You're releasing the same kind of
You have to
sounding
put it
stuff
out there.
over and over
Totally.
again.
Send it out. Put it on YouTube. And even if it bombs horribly, you will get so much attention from your bad music that when you put good music out, people will know who you are.
Exactly.
That's
like,
real.
What was that? What was that girl that put that like horrible song on
Friday?
the Friday song? Yeah.
Oh no.
I really don't know how her career ended up, so I don't really want to
I
get
don't
into it.
know.
I'm
Not
pretty ignorant.
great problem.
Good, not good.
But you
No,
can get
not
attention
good,
for being
not
bad
good.
also,
No,
so.
Exactly.
You can become infamous, right?
Yes.
Or you can do something, because, so, we're not going to call it this, but we were talking about the bus idea.
Yeah.
Where we're moving people, and we were going to call it something horrible like the drunk drive. And then people would get enraged, and then they would click on it because like, there's no way you should be drunk driving, and then they would see, it's the opposite.
the
that
opposite.
We're
providing
driving you.
That's actually pretty
when
smart
you're
though.
Right? And so we were like, well, people would click on it because they would be raging so hard,
Yeah.
and then they would
What
find
the
out
hell
that it's
is this?
actually at a good, you know what I mean? Like, I think
Yeah.
we should maybe call
My
it
name
that.
is Karen. I am so pissed, and I gotta click this link.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like,
What
oh,
the hell?
this is-
Sometimes people are more passionate about things that they hate than things that they love. So if you
100%.
go the negative spin,
100%.
but it's actually something good,
Yeah.
it might work.
Maybe we'll open 2 companies.
A speaker that I listen to a lot, his name is Byron Nelson. He says negative energy travels 11 times faster than positive energy, right?
I believe
How
that.
fast does gossip go around in office space, right? Like, I don't like gossip, but it does travel fast. Okay, the stage is my home. You said that.
I did.
I think that's really cool, man. So the beliefs that you have, I don't know. I'm gonna do a whole episode on that, maybe. I'll break it down proper when we don't have a guest.
And no guess, it'll just be him talking
like
to me
the
for
mind
an hour.
space.
The mind space hour.
But you believe that going on stage is going home,
Yeah.
and that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The level of comfort that you can get on stage, and thereby the level of higher performance, and the ability to run around and look like maybe like a fool, just running around, making, you know what I mean, like being but doing that, you have to be comfortable, and you think you have a belief that your stage is home, and I just this struck me. I was like, wow, that's really cool. I like that a lot.
It's a good thing. It's a good place to be at when you're on
Okay,
stage.
this is an exact quote. You said if the song looks the same, it sounds the same.
Yes.
Dude, I love that. Like guitars that look cooler sound cooler.
Right?
There's no question.
Like, I mean, yeah, and it's just like the difference between just doing the same thing visually over and over again, and then that kind of like tiring out your eyes, that it sort of tires out your ears also.
Yeah, 100%.
Gotta mix it up
I love that
so it
change.
looks and sounds different.
Put also effort into finding out how.
Yes.
How can I possibly mix this up? I really like that. You have a team. You have a team.
I sure do.
We've talked about this. We've talked about this so many times. Get a freaking team. If you're serious about
You
building
need a
something,
team.
inevitably, if you're really good at artsy things, that also means you're very apt to be not as good at small detail things.
Yeah, you might have some areas you need to work on where your team can help you.
You're good at it. And like, listen, like I'm not really the person to do the little details.
Yeah.
But that's why we put people on the team who love details and aren't really thinking about the big picture.
Yes.
And build a team. And I love that you've done that.
You gotta have a team that's just as passionate about what you're doing as you are.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, that's like my other advice to artists sometimes is that like you gotta be careful not to just jump onto a team with somebody just because you want a team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The
Like
wrong
you
team
gotta,
will make the team
exactly,
fail.
you could crash and
I'm
burn.
out of here. I'm out.
And I knew it, Niffin was the issue the entire time, guys. We were talking to Joe. We're like, what part of the team is going wrong? No,
It's
what
the man
part of the
bun.
team's
It's the
going
man
right?
bun.
It's going right.
It's coming off.
Man bun.
It's coming off soon. Dom and I are gonna cut
You're
it
just
together.
cutting it?
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We'll do like hair for charity or chow for
There you
charity.
go.
We'll do a bunch
Shell
of
for
different
charity.
Chop it off.
Chop.
stuff. It's coming off. It's gotta come off soon. It's way too hot, man. It's way too freaking hot.
He's
Always
gonna cut
build
it off.
yourself.
Winter comes. Boom.
Always build yourself. It's never done.
Yeah.
It's the trajectory, right? We talked about like how your next album is gonna be so much better than this album and now, and in the middle of
So
that, you're
much
like,
better
yeah,
than the
man,
first
like you always just put another brick on the pile.
Right? Like you just gotta keep improving and working on things and like even like if you are successful and doing well doesn't mean you're finished your job. You know what I mean? Like you have to keep on improving. Like I mean, people ask me all the time, like, oh, they're like, oh, so you're such a great singer. Like, do you do lessons? Yeah, of course I do. Because how am I ever gonna continue to get better and
Yeah.
work on it if
Yeah.
I just think, oh yeah, I'm great, it's done.
I wake up
Yeah.
every day with the biggest ego of my singing
Yeah,
voice, and I
I'm
don't
just
ever
done,
need to
yeah.
practice.
And okay, great. Even if you were like the most virtuosic singer on the planet, exceptional. Well, it's possible. It's like
Maybe.
she's definitely
She's
close.
so good.
You know what I mean? There are like 5 or 6. But the point is, how good are you at piano?
Right?
And then
Bad
how good,
example.
you know what I mean?
She's-
How good are
She's
you?
really good at piano.
But how good is she at guitar? Like, the point is
There's always something
there's
you can
something-
work on.
there's something
and
to
when
work
you,
on, yeah.
so I just speaking from example, I play guitar fairly
Excellent.
well.
Phenomenal.
I mean, I'm not gonna listen. Steve Vai is phenomenal. I'm like solid.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Truly. But when I learned a few chords on piano, I was like, oh, like I started to see
Right.
the chords on guitar like a little different.
Differently,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so that even that just helped right there. So
Right.
put another brick on the pile. You said feel over think. I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. That's something I need a little more of in my life. Just feeling through life instead of thinking through life. It's cool.
It's easy to get caught up in your head
Way too
sometimes,
easy.
right?
Too easy.
You just gotta do what feels good sometimes.
Yeah, and write what feels good.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah. It's going to connect with the people, because if you think it feels good, people that are feeling very much like will feel that same feel-good feeling that was
Exactly.
meant in that.
Definitely.
Okay, 2 more things.
Two.
Second last was stay in shape.
Yes.
I love it. That has had. Who's the drummer for the Arkells? What's his name? Oh man, it'll come to me in a second.
I was like, we're all failing
This guy,
right now.
this guy. I'm really sorry to him that I can't remember his name. He came in and he spoke at Metalworks, and he was like, someone asked him, "What's the most important thing for you musically?" And he's like, "You're not gonna believe my answer, but it's to eat healthy on the road."
Yeah.
And so what happened was like, as time went on, people were in his band, just like you said, dropping off at the drive-thru or the McDonald's or this
Yeah.
and that. So he took it upon himself to plan the route and all of the restaurants. And he's like, I didn't want to tell them I was trying to eat healthy, so I just told them all that these were all the restaurants I really wanted to check
These
out.
are the places
That's
we're going.
amazing.
And he just
yeah.
said, like, look, these are awesome. They're around the same price anyways, and we can get whatever we want. He's like,
Yeah.
I just ordered a salad every single time because
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to eat and I wanted to eat clean. So
Amazing. That's
find
smart.
find the way to stay. And he's
Yeah.
like, man, you have more energy, you feel better, you don't feel bad, you can interact with the fans, all the things we
Right.
talked about earlier. You can
Yeah.
feel better when you feel better.
It's true.
And then lastly, and I think perhaps most importantly, and I love this, take the time to learn something about your people and engage with them.
Yes.
Man,
So important.
dude,
So important.
how easy.
Right?
Like, okay, I'm going to play in Taipei. Like, let me Google that and
And
figure
find
out.
something out about them.
And
Yeah.
guys, in the microphone, I think this is really cool about you guys.
Yeah.
I learned this, and that's awesome. Thank you. And now
Right?
they feel like you gave a shit for a second about who they are, and now maybe they're going to reciprocate and care about who you are.
Exactly, and that's
Yeah.
kind of I think the biggest thing about it is like, why should people like give a shit what I'm doing and what I'm saying if I don't take time to care about what they are doing, right?
Yeah.
So I think it goes both ways.
I love that, man. I love that. Well, listen, you took the time to care enough to come to DriveWire
Yes, you
Radio.
talk to us.
Thank you.
Huge.
We have a superstar in
Thank
the making
you.
here, guys.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday. So I presume the Moonshine Cafe is like small.
It is
So
small.
you're gonna get like a really cool look up close and personal. Nicole Rayy.
That's the best way.
Moonshine
Close and
Cafe.
personal.
Yeah, man, this is an opportunity to see someone who might be absolutely gigantic in the future
Next
in
year,
this
man.
tiny little
Next
rig
year,
thing.
you won't be able to come see her in a bar.
That's
you
it.
know?
That's it.
I like your attitude.
She's coming out with 7 songs, and they're gonna be look out T Swift, look out T Swift. Wednesday, August 28th, 7 p.m. doors, 7:30. It looks like a 9. My writing's atrocious. 7:30 start time, guys. It's a single release party for Unfinished the Song. It is finished indeed. Moonshine Cafe in Oakville, Wednesday the 28th, 7 p.m. doors. Be there, be square. It's gonna be rad. Nicole Rayy,
Woo.
thank you for showing up.
Thank you. This has been so much fun. You guys put on an awesome show. This has been great. Just get
Thank
to
you.
chat, hang out.
Rooms going on.
I said, this feel like an interview.
No,
Just
it just
hang out,
feels like
chat.
we're hanging out. Like
Three
we
friends
should have
chatting.
beer right now. I should have brought some.
Oh, I say now I'll know to bring a 6-pack.
You are a country singer, right? Yo, DriveWire Radio, you got Carter, you got Crawford, you had Nicole Rayy. Thank you so much for joining us. Check us next week, 5 p.m. Wednesdays.
See you.